Hey everyone, I am going to be installing CALI RAISED products on my truck today for my third generation Tundra. So those who haven't been following me, I work with a company called Tundra. They send me aftermarket modifications, mostly off-road stuff, but I install them myself and then I review them. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing a couple of the CALI RAISED products. I did receive one today, and we are going to be installing the bed Molle panel system. This is a steel plate, and essentially this is being mounted on the inside of the side and the front of the truck bed. So you can mount axes, shovels, jerry cans, whatever you name. So let's get started. This right here is going to go on the front of the truck bed, and these panels are going to go on the side. All the hardware is included, and it's just a bolt-on installation. So we are going to start with the front of the truck bed first. If you don't have a rail system, that's okay too. They say it's still compatible without the rail system, but if you do have the rail system, they come with these blocks, and these blocks, they slide right into the rail system. So you just put them where the stock bolt locations are, and that will bolt the Molle panel to the rail system in the bed of the truck. The front is bolted in now. We're just going to move on to the side, and we're just going to follow that same concept. The rest of the CALI RAISED products showed up, or the majority of them. So what we have here is the ditch lights from CALI RAISED, dash mounting system, a catalytic converter protection guard, and the last thing that came in is a bed rack mount. So the only thing I'm missing is a mount for the ditch lights. I don't know if there's some confusion, or maybe there's still yet another box to come, but I cannot put the ditch lights on today. I do not have the hood mount, but everything else we will try to get to, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to start with is inside the truck. We are going to put this dash mount on top of where the monitor sits. So there aren't any instructions that come with this, so hopefully this is common sense enough for me to set it up, and we'll see how far we get. All right, I removed the trim piece to the top of this dash, and as you can see, there are these two bolts on each side right here, and the bottom of the mounting bracket looks like it can attach to those. So I'm going to remove those and then see if that fits right in there. Let's pre-put them in there. They were smart and put frickin' big holes there so you can get your ratchet and socket in that. All right, the next thing we're going to tackle is the catalytic converter guards. The bed rack I'm going to save for last. That's probably going to be the most time consuming. So this one should be a relatively easy bolt-on install. I'm just going to pull the truck forward, lift it up, get some chalk blocks on it, and throw her in. The hardware included includes a special key to mount this hardware. For those who don't know, catalytic converters have special metals in them, and they're often one of the most stolen things on a vehicle. So it's really nice that they included special hardware so it deters any theft. And there you have it. You have the catalytic converter protection on both sides. The last thing we're going to tackle today is the bed rack. So this one has quite a lot of parts. There is a ton of hardware in this bag, and there is a lot of packaging. So we're going to cut this all up and get her installed. Alright, the bed rack system is now installed. I don't think the Molle panel and the bed rack system were really meant to be together, as they take up the same rail system. I ended up making it work anyway, but the only thing left to do is to get those ditch lights on as soon as those mounts come in, and I'll give you pros and cons of everything. The hood mount for the ditch lights finally came in, so we have the pair of ditch lights, we have the wiring harness, and the hood mount. They did send like an OEM style button for the Toyota Tundra as well, but since I have the Switch Pro, I'm going to be wiring it to that instead. All right, now that all the accessories are on the truck, we are going to go through them one by one and talk about the pros and cons of each of them. So full disclosure, I got everything back early June, so I've had the majority of this stuff on for about 3 months now, but those ditch lights, I only got them about 3 weeks ago. So I installed them last week and I've had them on about a week, but I have tested them out. So starting at the back of the truck, we are going to talk about the bedside Molle panel. It is off of the truck right now, and it's for that sheer fact that earlier in the video I said, no matter what configuration I do, the holes do not align, and when I put the bolts in and crank them down, it's just bending metal a little bit. So I didn't like that, so I just decided to take the bedside Molle panel off. A big pro of these Molle panels though, they're very rigid. I've, cranked them in the truck up with the bolts and they just do not shake. They're great. They do have a good amount of vertical space, so for me, if you're a pre-runner style build, this is perfect for you because you can mount your tires, your jerry cans, jacks, whatever you need. And because it's the Molle panel design, it pretty much works with most accessories. I did use the front bedside Molle panel. I just ratchet strap my jerry can to there, and that worked for me. Cons, however, though, is it does take up some of the side space in the bed because when you bolt these in, there is still some free space behind it. It's not much, but it does take up the square footage of your bed a little bit. The second one is that it covers the lights in the bed and it blocks my bedside power outlet. So at the end of the day, these just don't work for me. I think though, if you were doing a pre-runner style build, these are perfect. The next accessory that we are going to talk about is the bed rack. So just like the Molle panels, they're very rigid. The weight rating of this bed rack is around 1,100 pounds, which is very tough. I don't think anybody's really going to exceed that rating. The second pro is they have these Molle panels on the side, and you can even move these panels down and stack another panel on top of it if you needed more surface area to mount something vertically on the outside of the bed rack. The last pro I'll talk about is they just have different height options. They have a low, a medium, and a high, and I opted for the high one. And that's where we're going to start with our first con. I thought the high bed rack was going to meet the level of the cab itself, and it does not. It's about 4 inches below it. So for me, I really wanted a long clamshell rooftop tent for me and my family, but sadly this bed rack is just not tall enough. Even with a 6-inch riser, it still does not clear the antenna on the cab. That's my one big con. The second con is just the vertical height is just not very much. This is the highest version, and even me measuring with a tape measure, from the top of the bed to the bottom of the bed rack is 3 feet and 1/4 of an inch. Which is really not that much vertical bed space. So I was helping my wife move a dresser. We had to lay it on its side and slide in. It just could not be mounted upright. So for me, sadly, this bed rack is not going to work for me. I will probably take it off and replace it with something taller in the future. However, I will say that this thing is great. It holds a lot of weight. It's very rugged. It looks really good compared to other bed rack systems. So I think for the right person, I would say you should buy this if you're looking for a bed rack because it is great. This would probably work best with a soft shell tent because those are usually nice and condensed. The next accessory that we're going to talk about is the catalytic converter guard. So in terms of an off-road accessory, it doesn't really protect you from rocks or anything like that just because the catalytic converters are just tucked up really tight underneath the cab. There's no way that rocks or anything are going to hit that anyway. So that accessory purely is for theft deterrent. So that's great for peace of mind. So if you're in an unfamiliar town or parking lot, whatever, no one can just easily grab your catalytic converters. I would be very impressed if someone could actually get to it because that's really thick stainless steel and they would have a very hard time cutting around that. All right, so the next accessory that we're going to talk about is the dash mounting system. So this is probably my favorite product from CALI RAISED. I was already in the market for something like this. It was called like Bulletproof Mounting Systems. They just do good advertising, and it was just showing up on my social media feed. But when CALI RAISED said that they were going to send me one of these, I was just absolutely ecstatic. So as you can see, the benefits from this, it just holds a lot of accessories. They work with a partner company called Tacform that makes these mounts. These mounting arms are solid, like they are just really nice metal, and once you cinch them down, they are not going anywhere. So I have one for my GoPro, one that I can just point my GoPro towards me when I'm talking, or I can just turn it around as like a truck POV. And then my other mounting arm has my Switch Pro controller on it, which is exactly what I had envisioned with this entire thing. There was no holes drilled or nothing in the dash. So if I wanted to in the future, I could just take everything out and it would look completely stock again. The hole here in the middle was initially for the that like cigarette lighter plug-in, but I wasn't using it anyway, and it's the perfect size for routing my wires from my Switch Pro controller all the way down to the firewall of my truck. So I really love this thing. Anything in the future that I'm going to get is probably going to be another sidearm for like a walkie-talkie holder. Big pro is it's just made of steel. The mounting arms are steel. It's just super rigid, just like the rest of CALI RAISED products. The only con I would probably say is that this just gets really hot when the sun is beating on it. I just think that's just going to happen with any of the mounting systems. So I really wouldn't say that's like a huge con because I really don't think it affects anything, but just the options are unlimited of what you can do with this thing. So by far my favorite product from CALI RAISED. I 100% recommend this to anybody. It doesn't have to be an overlanding style, like you can just put phone mounts or, you know, whatever you can think of on here. All right, the last accessory that we are going to talk about is the ditch lights. So like I said before, I've only had them on for about a week, but I've already taken them out in the dark a couple times, and I've already taken photos for the marketing company. So as you can see from the photos, it is very impressive, the light output that these give off. So they not only have these 6 LEDs that project forward, but they also have these side shooters on the outside. They don't have them on the inside, but the outside of the truck that just push a lot of light to the peripheral of the truck. So as you can see, extremely impressive the light output that these give, and especially that these are only 160 bucks for the entire kit, the lights, the mounting brackets, and the wiring. And you don't have to do any wire splicing or drilling whatsoever. Like, this is a complete steal from CALI RAISED. I think this is a really good product. I really would recommend this to anybody that's a beginner. I will say maybe it's just not as high of quality as, like, let's say a KC headlight or a KC lights or Rigid Light or Baja Designs, but if you guys are looking for a good beginner level light that will enhance your visibility at night, a very reasonable cost, I highly recommend this product to you guys. All right, and that is all the accessories that I put on from CALI RAISED. And I would like to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think of these products from CALI RAISED? And if you could, please give me a like on the video as it helps me out. And if you want to see more off-road accessories that are coming in that I'm going to be putting on in the future, please give me a subscribe, and I will see you then. Thank you, everybody.